Hello, I'm Lara Kılıçarslan and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. Meta has come under fire from academics, researchers, politicians, and regulators over its decision to shut down CrowdTangle. It's an online tool that's been crucial in investigating the spread of violence, political disinformation, and false narratives on Facebook and Instagram. For civil society, CrowdTangle was one of the most effective apps available to monitor and report on hate speech and election interference. The platform had become an industry standard for real-time transparency, offering insights into how disinformation and voter suppression spread on social media. Regulators, including the European Commission, and a bipartisan group of US senators and Congress members have expressed concerns that shutting CrowdTangle now could be risky, given its critical role in identifying security threats and misinformation. In response to Meta's decision, over 50,000 people have signed letters and petitions urging the company to delay its plans or at least keep CrowdTangle operational through the upcoming US presidential election. Emre has more on the tool's origins and its fight against disinformation.
CrowdTangle was created by Brandon Silverman and Matt Gamore in 2011. It was acquired by Facebook in 2016 and provided to researchers and media partners for free. It marked the first time a major social network had offered such a tool to the public, enabling real-time monitoring of trends. Researchers and journalists found it invaluable for tracking viral false content, including Russian influence operations, accounts linked to the QAnon conspiracy theory, and COVID-19 misinformation. However, in recent years, Meta began to limit the tool's functionality and stopped accepting new users. The company has introduced an alternative, the Meta Content Library, but access is restricted to academic researchers and non-profits, leaving many news organizations in the dark. Critics argue that the new tool is not as effective as CrowdTangle, at least not yet.
As if Meta wasn't already under pressure, the tech giant, along with Google, is now facing a new investigation by the Republican-led House Oversight Committee. The committee, chaired by Trump loyalist Congressman James Comer, is probing whether Google and Meta suppressed news about the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
Hear about this? That AI and Google are trying to kind of erase or memory hold Trump's assassination. Hey, let's do it live. Let's see if it works.
Yeah, we'll do it live.
I did it earlier and I was shocked. It doesn't even bring it up as an assassination attempt. Huh. Look what comes up
Wow.
already. President Truman.
After the July 14th attempt on Trump's life, social media erupted with claims that Meta's AI tool dismissed the incident as fictional and failed to respond to questions about the shooting. As you saw earlier, Google's search engine also didn't prompt Donald Trump's name in its list of possible results. When these allegations first emerged, both companies stated that the searches were adjusted to prevent the spread of fake news. Then, just a day after Comer's investigation began, Democrats called for a probe into X's chatbot Grok, owned by Elon Musk. They allege that Grok is telling users Kamala Harris is ineligible to appear on the 2024 presidential ballot. Meanwhile, this week, Musk's AI chatbot Grok rolled out a new image generation tool, but it's missing most of the safety guardrails that have become a standard in the AI industry. Grok's new feature, currently available only to paid X subscribers, has led to a surge of bizarre and offensive AI-generated images of political figures and celebrities on the platform. Unlike other AI tools like OpenAI's ChatGPT, which block images violating misinformation and abuse rules, Grok's generator produced depictions including Donald Trump flying a plane into the World Trade Center and inappropriate images of Taylor Swift, Kamala Harris, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, women who are already frequent targets of online harassment. Meanwhile, ChatGPT rejects similar prompts, citing terms of service that prohibit depictions of violence, disrespect to religious figures, and explicit content. Grok's image generator also doesn't block prompts involving copyrighted characters. Image generation tools have become a minefield for big tech companies as they grapple with their potential to spread disinformation and fuel harassment. Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI have all faced backlash over their image generation tools. Google even suspended its Gemini text-to-image tool after it produced historically inaccurate images. Since the fall of Twitter, Instagram's role in political discourse has never been more crucial. But while it's often seen as more respectable than X and the politically targeted TikTok, Instagram is facing serious issues of its own. The Center for Countering Digital Hate has uncovered alarming findings. Instagram is failing to protect female politicians from abuse.
The Center for Countering Digital Hate ran a test. They reported 1,000 comments on Instagram, which included sexist slurs, threats of rape and death targeted toward female politicians, including this one, "Hope someone leaves you for dead in a ditch," which targets Senator Marsha Blackburn, and "We don't want blacks around us no matter who they are," targeting Vice President Kamala Harris. CCDH reported 1,000 of these abusive comments using Instagram's own reporting tools. 1 week after reporting, Instagram had taken no action on 926 of them, leaving comments up such as "make rape legal" and "death to her and her supporters." CCDH further reviewed 560,000 comments on Instagram, which were targeted toward female politicians, and found that 1 out of 25 comments were identified as highly toxic. So Instagram's own community guidelines claim that they remove content that contains credible threats or hate speech, and content that targets private individuals to degrade or shame them. And they prohibit attacks targeting gender and race. But Instagram is not, in fact, removing comments that meet these criteria, even when they are reported to them.
What you post online can have serious consequences. And in the UK, those behind the recent far-right protests are finding that out the hard way. The government has made a series of arrests, sentencing offenders from teenagers to a 53-year-old woman. Joel is in London with the latest.
Swift justice isn't always practical in places where judicial systems are under pressure like the UK's is at the moment, but nonetheless, British authorities have been moving quickly to expedite cases for those involved in the riots at the start of the month. Police have said they've arrested more than 1,000 people suspected of involvement in the protests, and those had largely targeted Muslim communities and places believed to be housing migrants. While violence on the streets was of course the biggest issue, the role of social media has acutely come under the microscope. A key figure online was Tommy Robinson, a far-right British activist with an outstanding arrest warrant for contempt of court. He online repeatedly linked the Southport stabbing attack to Muslim communities, despite the suspect in that attack not being Muslim. Now, Tommy hasn't been arrested over his role in all of this yet, but British authorities have been able to use social media and online tools to track those that have, even in instances where people have been deleting their posts. On August the 7th, the UK Director of Public Prosecutions told Sky News that officers had been dedicated to doing precisely this. And this has been all part of a big push to improve digital policing in this country. Now, Britain is about to bring in new rules to that end. The Online Safety Act comes into effect next year. And while there have been calls to try and beef up some elements of that, not everyone agrees whether tougher laws should be applied to what can and can't be said online. People like former UK Prime Minister Liz Truss are among those who have posted about the fact that freedom of speech needs to be protected as well, not just safety. There are others too who feel like social media's role in the riots has been overblown. Philosopher Dan Williams from the University of Sussex, for instance, claiming that the issue is people themselves, not necessarily online safety or what is able to be posted online. So where does all this leave us? Well, the riots have seemingly been brought to an end, and the international interest in this story shows that people elsewhere have been paying close attention to what has been happening here for clues about how to figure out how to deal with this sort of thing in the future. Does that mean this is the last time we hear about social media's role in what happens in the streets? That's a lot harder to do.
Algerian Olympic boxing champion Imane Khalif is taking a stand against cyber harassment. Khalif's attorney has filed a criminal complaint following a wave of online abuse she faced during the recent games. The controversy began when people cottoned on to the fact that Khalif had been banned from the 2023 Boxing World Championships due to high testosterone levels. While the International Boxing Association had banned her, the International Olympic Committee did not. There was a surge of abuse during the Olympic Games, much of it on social media, of course. Even high-profile figures like J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk reportedly involved. The lawsuit filed under X under French law allows for action against unknown persons and could potentially target other figures overseas.
I have been seeing a transcript of this very interesting press conference of this organization, where it was not even clear which tests have been performed, which results they have been produced.
This is just the consequences of people relying on social media instead of credible news sources for information. And shame on JK and anybody else who tweeted about this story without finding out what was really going on, because the arrogance for you to think that you know more than the IOC. In order to compete in the Olympics, you can't just show up.
Imana Khalif isn't the only athlete enduring a surge of online abuse. Australian Olympic breakdancer Ray Gunn, also known as Rachel Gunn, says the online hate she's faced has been overwhelming. The 36-year-old became the target of criticism for her routines at the Paris Games, with social media flooded by memes and skits mocking her moves, even taking jabs at her Australian roots. Despite the backlash, Reagan says she gave the competition her all and had fun doing it. On Thursday, she posted a short video addressing the relentless online criticism.
I just want to start by thanking all the people who have supported me. I really appreciate the positivity, and I'm glad I was able to bring some joy into your lives. That's what I hoped. I didn't realize that that would also open the door to so much hate, which has frankly been pretty devastating.
Now let's turn our attention to North Korea, a nation that's been off limits for years, especially for tourists, but that could be changing soon. Tour operators report that the mountainous northern city of Samjeon is set to welcome foreign tourists this December, marking nearly 5 years since North Korea's borders were closed due to the pandemic. State media in North Korea has highlighted the extensive redevelopment in the city, with leader Kim Jong-un unveiling ambitious plans in July. These include rebuilding the airport, transforming a military ski base into a resort, and constructing new railways and hotels for incoming tourists. The country had imposed some of the world's strictest restrictions in early 2020, even barring its own citizens from returning home. Pyongyang began easing those measures mid-last year. If this is on your bucket list, here's what you need to know.
Here are 5 things that you cannot do in North Korea. Number 1, you can't access the internet. Foreign websites and social media are blocked, and you're only allowed to access websites that have been approved by the government, if you can find Wi-Fi. Number 2, you can't talk to North Koreans without a guide being present. Tourists are not allowed to interact freely with North Koreans. If you want to talk to them, you must do so in the presence of a government guide. Number 3, you cannot bring certain items into the country. Since religion is banned, you are not allowed to bring a Bible, a Quran, a Torah, or anything relating to politics. Number 4, you cannot take photos of construction. This would imply that a building is not perfect, and therefore it's banned to photograph it. Number 5, you can't disrespect the current or past leaders. Any form of disrespect towards the Kim family, including damaging their images, is a serious offense and can lead to severe consequences, including prison.
And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.